Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something fundamental, really. How do living things move and react? And why is it always so specific? So appropriate.
It's everywhere, isn't it? You see a tiny seed pushing through soil, or maybe a cat stalking something, incredibly focused, or even just buffaloes chewing cud. It looks simple, but it's not random.
Right. These aren't random twitches. There's intention, or at least a purpose behind them. So the big question is why? Why these specific movements?
Exactly, and that leads us straight to the core idea: control and coordination. Living things have to sense changes in their environment and then, well, respond appropriately.
Like pulling your hand away from a hot stove. You don't think about it, you just do it.
Precisely. That speed, that perfect link between sensing danger and acting, that's what we're exploring. It requires some pretty amazing biological systems.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive.
Okay.
We've looked at the sources on how both animals and plants manage this. It seems like there are two main strategies, one super fast, based on electricity, and another slower one using chemicals.
That's a great way to put it. Two complementary systems. And logically, we should probably start with the need for speed.
The nervous system in animals?
Yes, the high-speed network. It's built from specialized nervous tissue and, crucially, muscular tissue to carry out the actions. Think about any urgent situation touching something dangerous, hearing a sudden loud noise.
You need an instant response.
Yeah.
No time for delay.
No time at all. So how does it even start? How does the body pick up that first signal, that bit of information from the world?
That's where receptors come in, right? These specialized nerve cell tips.
Correct. They act like tiny antennae, usually cluster in our sense organs. The inner ear for sound, the nose for smell, the tongue for taste, skin for touch and temperature. They're the information gateways.
And the sources mention specific types, like gustatory receptors for taste and olfactory receptors for smell.
Yes, and it's interesting how interconnected they are. The sources have this simple activity suggestion.
Oh, the one about blocking your nose.
Yeah, exactly. Try eating something sweet, like sugar, while holding your nose shut tight. You'll get the basic sweetness, sure.
But not the full flavor.
Not the complexity, no. That richness comes from both taste and smell working together. It shows just how neatly these systems are integrated right from the start. Two inputs, one perception.
Okay, so the receptor detects the stimulus heat, light, a chemical molecule. What happens next? How does that message actually, travel along a nerve cell?
It's a fascinating process. It's an electrochemical journey. When information hits the dendritic tip, the receiving end of the nerve cell, it kicks off a chemical reaction.
A chemical reaction, not just electricity.
It starts chemically. That reaction then generates an electrical signal, an impulse that travels down the nerve cell. It goes from the dendrite through the main cell body and then along the long extension called the axon.
So it's electrical inside the cell. But nerve cells aren't physically connected, are they? There's that gap.
Right, the synapse. And that's a critical design feature. The electrical impulse can't just jump that gap. That would be, well, chaotic.
So how does the message get across?
When the electrical impulse reaches the end of the axon, it triggers the release of chemicals into that tiny synaptic gap.
Neurotransmitters.
Precisely. These chemicals float across the synapse and bind to the next cell, maybe another neuron, or a muscle cell, or even a gland, and that binding action starts a new electrical impulse in the next cell.
Ah, I see. So it's electrical within the neuron, chemical between neurons. That little chemical step acts like a buffer or a control point.
Exactly. It prevents the signal from just running wild, allows for modulation, and ensures the signal goes in the right direction. It's very elegant.
Okay, that system sounds fast. But let's go back to that emergency touching a hot flame. You said speed is everything. Why involve this relay system at all? Why not just send the signal straight up to the brain? Wouldn't that be simplest?
You'd think so, but the brain is complex. Thinking, consciously processing, this is hot, this is dangerous, I should move my hand. That involves coordinating many, many neurons. It takes time.
Too much time if your hand is burning.
Way too much time. You'd get seriously injured waiting for the conscious thought process to complete. Evolution found a shortcut.
The reflex action?
Exactly. Actions like pulling your hand away or your mouth watering when you smell delicious food. These are reflexes. They're sudden, involuntary.
And the mechanism is the reflex arc?
Yes. It's the body's emergency bypass route. The sensory nerve carrying the hot, signal doesn't go all the way to the brain first. It goes into the spinal cord.
Okay.
And right there in the spinal cord, it makes a direct or almost direct connection with the motor nerve, the one that tells the muscles in your arm to contract.
So input nerve, spinal cord, output nerve muscle, bypassing the main processing center.
Correct. Maximum efficiency for protection. The action happens almost instantaneously. The message also goes up to the brain, which is why you feel the pain and become aware of what happened, but only after your hand is already safe.
Like an internal switchboard prioritizing the emergency
A
code.
perfect analogy. We see it too if, say, a bright light suddenly shines in your eyes. The pupils contract instantly.
Another reflex.
Yes, the reflex arc triggers the pupil constriction before your brain even fully registers. Wow, that's bright. It's protective.
Okay, so reflexes handle the immediate dangers via the spinal cord. But what about everything else? All the complex stuff, the deliberate actions.
That's where the main command center comes in the brain, along with the spinal cord forming the central nervous system. Anything that involves thought, planning, or conscious control, like writing, talking, deciding to walk across the room, that's brain territory. Voluntary actions.
And the brain isn't just one big lump, is it? It has different parts doing different jobs.
Absolutely. We can talk about major divisions. The forebrain is sort of the main thinking part. It's where sensory information, what you see, hear, smell, arrives in specific areas for initial processing.
But it does more than just receive signals, right?
Oh, much more. It has huge association areas. This is where the information is interpreted, compared with memories where decisions are made. It's the seat of consciousness, thought, and memory storage.
And it sends out the commands.
Yes, it sends signals to motor areas, which then control your voluntary muscles, like the ones in your legs when you decide to walk.
It's like the CEO's office. Makes the big decisions. Interestingly, the sources also mentioned the forebrain controls the feeling of hunger or fullness.
That's right. It integrates those basic physiological signals, too. It tells you when you've had enough to eat. It manages those drives alongside conscious thought.
Fascinating. So what about the other parts, the midbrain and hindbrain?
Think of them more like the autopilot systems. They manage the involuntary actions, the vital functions that keep you alive without you having to think about them.
Like breathing and heartbeat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Breathing, heartbeat, blood pressure regulation, even things like salivation or vomiting. Many of these are controlled by a specific part of the hindbrain called the medulla. You can't just decide to stop your heart beating.
Thankfully. So forebrain for thinking and voluntary action, mid and hindbrain for the automatic stuff. But there's one more key player mentioned, the cerebellum.
Yes, the cerebellum, also part of the hindbrain. If the forebrain decides what to do, the cerebellum helps control how you do it.
How so?
It's all about precision and balance. It fine-tunes your voluntary movements. When you walk, the cerebellum ensures your movements are smooth, coordinated, and that you maintain your balance.
So it's crucial for things like riding a bike or even just picking up a pencil without fumbling.
Absolutely. It constantly adjusts muscle contractions based on feedback. It's why you can walk a straight line or perform delicate tasks. It coordinates the timing and force of different muscle groups. Essential for posture, too.
It's the quality control and coordination expert.
A very good way to describe it.
And this incredibly complex vital system, the brain and spinal cord, it must be well protected.
Extremely well. Yeah. The brain sits inside the bony skull like a helmet. And inside that, there's even a fluid-filled cushion, like a balloon, to absorb shocks. The spinal cord runs down through the vertebral column, the backbone, which provides flexible protection.
A very robust design. Okay, so we have this amazing high-speed electrical network for quick responses and complex thoughts. But you mentioned limitations. Why isn't this enough?
Well, electrical signals are fast and targeted, but they have drawbacks. Firstly, they only reach cells that are directly connected by nerves. What if you need to send a message to all cells in the body simultaneously?
Like a general announcement.
Sort of, yes. And secondly, nerve cells need a brief recovery period after firing an impulse before they can fire again. They can't provide continuous, sustained signaling easily.
Okay, so for widespread, steady, long-term communication, electricity isn't the best tool.
Exactly. And that's where the second system shines. Chemical coordination using hormones.
Hormones, chemical messengers.
Yes. They are released into the body fluids, usually the bloodstream in animals. They travel much slower than nerve impulses, but because they circulate everywhere, they can potentially reach every single cell in the body.
Slower, but broader reach and more persistent.
Precisely. And this chemical approach is absolutely central to how plants manage control and coordination, given they don't have nerves or muscles like animals do.
Right, so how do plants respond? They obviously react to things like light and gravity.
They do in two main ways. First, there are some surprisingly fast movements not related to growth. The classic example is the mimosa plant, the touch-me-not.
Ah, yes, the leaves fold up instantly when you touch them. How does that work without muscles?
It's quite clever. There is an initial electrical chemical signal that travels from the point of touch, similar in principle to a nerve impulse. But the movement itself, it's hydraulics.
Hydraulics.
Yes. The cells at the base of the leaflets rapidly lose water pressure on one side. They essentially deflate very quickly. This change in water content, or turgor pressure, causes the cells to change shape, making the leaflet fold up.
Wow. So they use water pressure changes instead of muscle contractions. That's ingenious.
It is. But most plant coordination isn't about these rapid movements. It's about slow, directed growth, which we call tropism.
Tropism, like growing towards light.
Exactly. That's phototropism. Shoots grow towards light, while roots tend to grow away from it. Then there's geotropism, response to gravity. Roots grow down, shoots grow up against gravity.
And chemotropism, responding to chemicals.
Yes, a key example is during reproduction, the pollen tube grows towards chemical signals released by the ovule. It's guided growth.
Okay, so how does the plant control this growth direction? Let's take phototropism bending towards the sun. What's the mechanism?
It's a beautiful example of chemical control, mainly orchestrated by a plant hormone called auxin.
Auxin.
Auxin is produced primarily at the very tip of the growing shoot. Now, if light is coming evenly from above, auxin diffuses downwards evenly and the shoot grows straight up.
Makes sense.
But if light comes from one side, something interesting happens. The auxin tends to move away from the light, accumulating more on the shady side of the stem.
Okay, so more auxin on the side away from the light.
Correct. And here's the crucial part. In the shoot, a higher concentration of auxin actually stimulates those cells on the shady side to elongate, to grow longer and faster than the cells on the sunny side.
So one side of the stem starts growing faster than the other.
Which forces the entire shoot to bend towards the light source. It's differential growth, controlled by light-influencing hormone distribution.
That is incredibly elegant. A simple chemical gradient dictating the plant's architecture, guiding it to the energy it needs.
It really is. And auxin isn't alone. Plants have a whole toolkit of hormones. There are gibberellins, which promote stem elongation, and cytokinins, which stimulate cell division, important for fruit and seed development. They work together to regulate overall growth.
Growth promoters. But plants must need ways to slow down or stop growth, too.
Absolutely. They need breaks. That's where abscisic acid comes in. It generally acts as a growth inhibitor. It's involved in things like dormancy, closing pores to conserve water, and can even trigger leaves to wilt or drop during stress.
A complete chemical control panel for growth and response. Now let's swing back to animals and their hormones. We talked about speed with the nervous system. What about situations where animals need a coordinated body-wide response? Maybe not instantly, but quickly and powerfully.
The classic example is the fight or flight response.
Right. Imagine, say, a squirrel suddenly seeing a predator.
Exactly. In that moment, the squirrel needs its entire body prepared for intense action, either fighting or, more likely, running away at top speed. A nerve signal could tell the leg muscles are tense, but that's not enough.
You need the heart pumping faster, more oxygen, more fuel to the muscles, less energy wasted on digestion, all at once.
Precisely. Sending individual nerve signals to every single system would be too slow and complex to coordinate perfectly. This is where a hormone is ideal.
Enter adrenaline.
Yes, also called epinephrine. When the squirrel perceives danger, its adrenal glands, located near the kidneys, pump adrenaline directly into the bloodstream.
And because it's in the blood.
It reaches virtually all parts of the body very quickly. It acts on the heart, making it beat faster and harder, increasing blood pressure. It stimulates the liver to release stored glucose for energy. It increases breathing rate to get more oxygen.
And it diverts resources, right?
It does. It causes blood vessels supplying the digestive system and skin to constrict, redirecting blood flow towards the major skeletal muscles that will be needed for running or fighting. It's a total system-wide preparation for peak physical exertion.
Chemically orchestrated readiness. Amazing. Beyond emergencies, hormones in animals are crucial for slower, ongoing processes like growth and metabolism, aren't they?
Absolutely fundamental. Take thyroxine, produced by the thyroid gland in your neck.
What's its main role?
It's a master regulator of metabolism. It controls the rate at which your body uses carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. It's essential for balanced growth and energy levels.
And this is the one linked to iodine.
Yes. Iodine is essential for the thyroid gland to actually make thyroxine. If you don't get enough iodine in your diet, which used to be common in some areas, the thyroid gland can swell up trying to compensate. That's goiter.
A visible sign of a chemical imbalance. What about overall physical growth?
That's largely regulated by growth hormone, produced by the pituitary gland, a small gland at the base of the brain. It dictates growth and development, especially during childhood.
And if there's not enough,
Deficiency during childhood can lead to dwarfism.
another critical regulation is blood sugar, isn't it?
Hugely important. That's managed primarily by insulin, which is produced by the pancreas. Insulin helps cells take up glucose from the blood, lowering blood sugar levels, especially after a meal.
And when that system fails, that leads to diabetes.
Correct. If the pancreas doesn't produce enough insulin or the body cells don't respond to it properly, blood sugar levels remain too high. That's why many people with diabetes need insulin injections to manage their blood sugar.
And finally, hormones drive those major long-term changes like puberty.
Yes, testosterone in males and estrogen in females, produced mainly by the testes and ovaries respectively, trigger the development of secondary sexual characteristics and regulate reproductive functions. They orchestrate those profound developmental shifts over years.
So we have all these powerful chemical messengers controlling everything from split-second readiness to lifelong development. But how does the body get the amounts right? Too much or too little hormone could be disastrous.
That's a critical question. The body needs precise control. It achieves this largely through feedback mechanisms.
Feedback loops, like a thermostat.
Exactly like a thermostat. It's a self-regulating system. Let's use blood sugar again. When your blood sugar rises after eating, the pancreas detects this increase.
Okay.
In response, it releases insulin. Insulin then causes cells to take up sugar, and the blood sugar level starts to fall.
Right.
Now, the pancreas also detects this fall in blood sugar. Once the level returns to the normal range, the pancreas gets the signal to reduce its insulin secretion.
So the effect of the hormone, lower sugar, feeds back to inhibit its own release.
Precisely. It prevents overshoot. If sugar drops too low, other hormones might be released to raise it, again with feedback control. This constant monitoring and adjusting ensures that hormone levels and the body functions they control stay within a very narrow, healthy range, homeostasis.
It's an incredibly elegant solution for maintaining stability. So wrapping this up, we've really seen two distinct but complementary strategies for control and coordination.
Yes, on one hand, the fast, targeted electrical system, the nervous system, perfect for immediate reflexes, rapid responses, and complex processing like thought.
And on the other hand, the slower, widespread chemical system, the endocrine system, using hormones ideal for regulating ongoing processes like growth, metabolism, development, and coordinating whole body responses.
Both essential, working together. The very existence of these two systems highlights a fundamental biological principle. You often trade speed for scope, or vice versa. Life needs both fast, precise actions and slow, steady regulation.
It really makes you appreciate the complexity and, well, the sheer ingenuity of biological design. Which brings us to a final thought to leave you with. We often equate intelligence with complex thought, the kind our densely packed nervous system enables. But then you look at a plant. It has no brain, no nerves as we know them. Yet, using just the chemistry of hormones like auxin, it executes perfectly coordinated, life-sustaining strategies, finding light, growing against gravity, timing its development. If control and coordination are fundamental to survival and adaptation, how much intelligence is embedded in that chemical system? What might we learn about the deep principles of biological control by studying the elegant simplicity of a plant bending towards the sun?
That's a fascinating point. What fundamental aspects of adaptive behavior do these seemingly simple systems share with our own complex brains? Definitely something to ponder.